Okay, so we're back live. Thank you very much to everyone for staying with us. This is our last, but definitely not least, session. The presenter for this session is going to be Mr. Dan Eades. Dan is the CTO of Global Home, a PropTech startup based in London and in LA. Prior to Global Home, Dan ran an award-winning company supplying specialist subcontracted services into a global construction industry. Dan is very passionate about the power of technology to revolutionize the living experience and to drive meaningful outcomes for developers, owners, and occupants alike. Dan will be presenting how blockchain can be applied to the supply chain management in residential construction. And this includes automated procurement, provenance, tracking, tagging, the usage of materials, and so forth. Dan is joining us from London. Dan, thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Kiri, and thanks to Electi, Stylianos and Theo, who I know well, for the opportunity to present. As Kiri mentioned, my name's Dan. I'm the CTO of Global Home. I guess my role here is to represent a real-world company that's embracing blockchain technology in order to enhance our offerings. So we've heard a lot today about the technology behind blockchain, so I won't be going into a great deal of technical detail, but I thought it might be interesting to show our journey as a company and how we've got to the point where we're actually practically embracing blockchain in what we're doing. So we'll start by taking a brief look at the history of Global Home, and then we'll look at our current areas of development within platform thinking and what we call the logbook of the home. And then we'll look at how blockchain fits into this approach before diving specifically into an area that is relevant and was touched on just in the previous session by Tom about supply chain management and the benefits they can bring within residential construction specifically. And lastly, we'll just briefly look at the current status of operations within Global Home and the opportunities that exist today to collaborate or work with us. We're a very collaborative organisation. This is certainly not intended to be a complete presentation on Global Home, which is a very broad topic, or blockchain in general, but I hope it stimulates conversation. So, as mentioned by Kiri at the beginning, Global Home is a PropTech startup company based in Los Angeles and London. As a team, we've been building houses for 3 generations across California and the wider United States, built tens of thousands of homes and actually millions of square feet of commercial real estate. But residential development is more relevant to what we do today. Like many in the house building and property development industry, we've been striving to find a better way to build homes. Other industries like automotive, telecoms, media, personal transport, etc. seemed to be streets ahead in their adoption of digital transformation. In order to drive change internally as a business, we looked to the market to find products and innovations to help us to do that. And we were very much focused on the 4 topics that you can see on the screen in front of you. So smart living, flexible living, healthy living, and sustainable living. This is where we started as a business. And when we looked at the innovations on the market to help us to drive those ambitions, we found a very siloed and fragmented and confused industry. It was very much fragmented by the lack of openness to change within the wider property development and construction industries. So rather than look to others to help us, we decided to change our approach and set about designing some products ourselves. We built a team of technologists, product designers, automotive engineers, mechanical engineers, and went back to product design first principles. The result was 2 core products. The 2 products you can see screenshots at the top of the screen up there. One was a ground-up designed smart home platform, a smart home platform that I could speak for days about alone, but it's a ground-up design which embraces the best-in-class technology from German electronics manufacturer and a ground-up design software framework that allows us to integrate with parties but maintain control over the experience and, more importantly, the data. Also, a construction kit of parts methodology, which you can see a brief screenshot of on the screen, which is Modular in initial deployment, but also modular throughout the life cycle of the property, allowing very easily flexibility and adaptability over time. They're known now as Ultra, which is the smart home platform, and Connect, which is the kit of parts. Whilst we were developing these products, we realised that actually these have much wider market appeal than just our own developments. So we decided to design a business plan for reaching the market with these products to basically be able to empower other property developers to follow the same journey that we're following. We settled on a platform approach, and we are now in the development stage of 3 separate platforms. A platform called Develop, which empowers developers to build sustainably, connectedly, and healthy homes. A platform for selling properties, which allows product and services providers to engage with home buyers and home occupants at the point of purchase to upgrade and modify and adapt their homes, and a platform called Occupy, which allows occupants of homes to manage and live within the home in a sustainable and connected manner, and be supported by a network of products and services suppliers curated by ourselves. And this is very much where we were looking at needing a glue that binds these 3 fairly complicated platforms together to ensure long-term platform engagement, and to make sure that the properties that are involved in all of the 3 platforms have a glue that binds them together. And this is very much where the concept of the logbook comes into play. So the concept of the logbook is that when a property is designed or conceptualized, a logbook is created for that property. So the logbook is unique to each property and stays with that property through its entire life cycle. And that goes through 6 main stages, from planning through building, which includes design, and is very much these days including things like modern methods of manufacturing, modern methods of construction, modular offsite, volumetric modular or kit of parts, which includes one of our core products, through the purchase of property, the installation of options chosen at the point of purchase, through to living in the property, optimizing that living experience, driving positive occupant outcomes through optimizing that environment, and then maintaining and supporting that property over time. So the idea of the logbook is that it's a central repository for information, right the way through from the beginning, the design information, the ownership information, the construction information, including what the property is built from, how it was built, who built it, etc. The ownership details, and then the details of any adaptations that happen to that home over time. So how does blockchain fit into that process? So the logbook is a central source of truth, and it's of paramount importance that this data is completely accurate and remains so over time. There are multiple data points within this logbook that interact with each other over time. Properties, developments, and support functions are by their nature distributed, and this all lends itself to distributed ledger or blockchain technology. And we are currently working with Electi to build out our blockchain solution. What's really exciting about this is we were presented with the opportunity to integrate other elements of existing blockchain innovation within areas such as land registry, which obviously Tom just touched on in great detail, fractional ownership, which Christiana mentioned earlier, through to supply chain management and data exchange, and bringing this together into an end-to-end solution for whole life cycle management for residential property development and construction. So zeroing in just on one very specific area, the supply chain, I've been, as Kiri mentioned earlier, I've been a part of the supply chain in construction for the last 20 years of my career. It's incredibly fragmented, it's incredibly complicated, and it's very incredibly interdependent and interwoven and fraught with issues. Before construction even commences, you have planners, architects, 5 or 6 different sets of consultants, surveyors, specialist designers. And then once a construction begins, there's main contractors, ground workers, infrastructure, block workers, bricklayers, plumbers, electricians, dry liners, carpenters, joiners, technology companies, data companies, painters, decorators, etc., etc. The list goes on. It's currently very fragmented and reliant on complex, badly managed interdependencies, lacking transparency and open to contractual abuse, sadly. So bringing just that very niche area of supply chain within the logbook and looking at the benefits of using blockchain in this instance, I think overall it's about transparency and proven accuracy of information. The supply chain within construction at the moment is very manual process. It's very much a case of lots of different companies having different repositories of information, emails. There are online tools which are used by some companies, but they're often not adhered to by all the subcontractors and the entire chain. It's very fragmented and chaotic, and ultimately construction has to continue and does so within that kind of chaotic environment. So having the ability to have accurate and transparent information is incredibly important. So for example, automated progress tracking. So giving kind of accuracy and transparency of where the project is at any one stage gives financiers, developers, and all supply chain entities precise information about where the project is at any one time. Materials tagging gives a complete digital record from a bill of materials through to sign-off, so you know exactly which materials are being used, where they are in the manufacturing cycle, and where they are in the delivery and installation cycle. Materials provenance. So you're able to prove the provenance of materials. That really helps with sustainability criteria. You can prove that, and Tom gave the example of the wooden beam from a moisture tracking record, but actually the sustainability of that wooden beam is very important and is very high up on the agenda of many governments and property developers. Being able to prove where that beam came from and the sustainability criteria is very, very useful. And ultimately giving a complete record of how each property was built and from what. And again, Tom mentioned very briefly smart contracts allowing advanced payment options and allowing kind of automated payment down the whole supply chain. I think that's very important. At the moment, it's open to abuse. Payment terms are very weighted against the subcontractor. They're very weighted in favour of the main contractor and the developer. There's no reason why advanced payment options couldn't be looked at with smart contracts to allow proof of delivery, triggering certain conditions, which then automatically release payment. It's a slightly utopian scenario, and there's a long way to go to get there, but I think eventually automated payments are definitely something that could be implemented using blockchain within the supply chain management. And importantly, it's not just in the construction phase where supply chains exist. Supply chains exist throughout the life cycle of the property. So supply chains for maintenance, for upgrades, for improvements, for associated products and services, and eventually with integration with other ecosystems, whether it be transport, healthcare, education, etc. So supply chains feed into what we see as a logbook of the home. So imagine what Tom just took you through, the land registry, the title deeds, taking it through to what Cristiano was talking about, fractional ownership, but then allowing that to be built into a logbook approach, which actually records not only the ownership, but also the materiality, the usage, the maintenance, the support, the service and maintenance records over the life cycle of the property. It adds a great deal of value into that ecosystem. So just quickly touching on the current status of our company, we have an innovation centre which is going live in January. This is actually set up as a single dwelling, but will become the nexus point for collaborative innovation in all areas, including blockchain development. And next year, we're constructing a 54-bed development on the campus of the University of Surrey. We'll be working with the university, Electi, and other collaborators to use this as an example of our integrated technology, our platform approach, the logbook, and of course, blockchain. This will then be inhabited, presenting post-occupancy evaluation opportunities across all areas of our innovation. Both of these projects are backed by the UK government through the Industrial Strategy Challenge Fund offered by the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. And both projects include a consortium of global leading companies in construction, technology and software, as well as University of Surrey from an academic research perspective. We're a highly collaborative organisation and welcome approaches from innovators in all areas, as well as investors and potential clients. And that's Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dan, for everything. Thank you for the great presentation. Do we have any questions from the audience? Oh, we have a question. So from Mirto. Dan, as an architect, Mirto is an architect. I find that the logbook idea very interesting. Okay, so the question is, Mirto? Okay, so while we wait for Mirto, is there anyone else? Any other questions that would like to ask Dan about Global Home? How would you apply this technology to less advanced construction industry environments? It has to do, I guess, and this is always an issue. It's a general issue with blockchain and emergent tech. It's about the technological readiness level of a company. It is indeed an issue.
Yeah, it is. I think I really liked what Tom said earlier. It's very much part of our philosophy about blockchain being invisible, but the benefits not being invisible. I think you know, if you'd have, and his example of TCP/IP is very resonant here. You know, you could say less advanced construction industry environments, but you know, 10 years ago, those companies would have not been using online project management tools, or maybe even email. Maybe a lot of it was, or CAD or BIM, or all these other technology advancements. I think the most important thing is that the solutions that we put forwards are user-friendly and perhaps the better term is familiar. So the environment we're asking people to participate in is a very familiar environment. The benefits from what blockchain brings can sit in the background, and as long as those benefits are visible, and the blockchain technology that drives it shouldn't scare people away, and shouldn't be a barrier to people actually wanting to participate.
I completely agree. Technology should be invisible, not just blockchain. It should provide a seamless experience, frictionless, and people just, the tech should be actually transparent to the user. It's just, it should just work. Okay?
Yeah.
So, any other questions? I guess that's it. So, thank you very much, everyone, for attending today. This concludes our webinar. So, as I said before, all the materials that were presented today will be available to you. And I'll be in touch with you, and we'll provide some kind of repository where you can access the material. Okay, so again, once again, thank you very much for attending. Thank you very much to all the speakers who took the time to share their vast knowledge with us, especially our guests from the UK. And hopefully we'll see you soon in some other online webinar. Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day.